In today's video, we'll talk about a underwater video light, more specifically the X-Adventurer ring light. Hi and welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Now today's video is a review video of the X-Adventurer ring light. The video is gonna be structured into 5 different chapters. First of all, we'll go through the specs of the X-Adventurer ring light, the same specs that you can also find on their website. Then we'll go into how it actually performs underwater. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about how it handles underwater, especially using thicker dry suit gloves as we do here in Switzerland. Further on, we'll talk about who I think the ring light is perfect for and who would benefit most from using such a ring light underwater. And to wrap it up, I will share some special remarks that I found out while using the ring light with you guys. So let's not lose any more time and dive right into it. Now first of all, let's define what a ring light is. Basically, a ring light is a special video or photography light that you use for macro videography or photography. Also on land, not just underwater. Now the special thing about it is that you've got LED lights all around your lens, right at the front of your lens, and that should give a nice and even illumination and lighting situation to your entire scene. And obviously it's primarily used for macro stuff, shooting macro. Now the X-Adventurer ring light has a maximum output of 1800 lumen, which doesn't really sound like a lot, but considering that you are gonna be shooting macro only, this is plenty of power to illuminate whatever you're trying to capture. Now the 1800 lumen, they can be dialed down in 10 different levels, and it's done through a little dial that is placed around the turn on, turn off button at the top of the ring light. The color temperature of the ring light is 6500 lumen, and it has a beam angle of around 100 degrees, so nice and wide to be able to capture or illuminate your entire scene. The burn time is, as stated by the manufacturer, 60 minutes at the maximum output power, and it is depth rated to 50 meters. Now the X-Adventurer ring light weighs just under 300 grams on land and around 145 grams when taken into the water, and this is an important figure for you guys. If you add this to your underwater camera rig, you need to make sure to compensate your buoyancy for that amount. One thing that is a little special about the X-Adventurer underwater ring light is that it actually has a changeable threading on it. Now it normally comes with a M52 thread, but you can change that by yourself. You only have to take out a few screws and you can change it to a M67 thread. So that means that you can use it on any underwater port that supports either an M52 or an M67 thread. Now let's talk about the performance of the X-Adventurer ring light underwater. Personally, I think it performed quite well in what it was made for. The macro shots that you can take with this light are very nicely and evenly lit. Sometimes they can look a little flat because simply you're getting the same amount of light on every part of your image, of your shot. So from a creative standpoint, it's probably not an ideal light to be used when shooting underwater in general. But if your aim is to get a nicely even lit image or footage while shooting underwater, the X-Adventurer ring light will definitely get the job done. Now here's a couple of examples to show you what I mean when I say it can produce a somehow flat look. Now this first image here, this first clip was shot with the X-Adventure ring light on, and just for your information, it was on like the second or the third power level, so there's plenty of power really in that small little light. But as you can see, everything in that image is evenly illuminated, which is fine. It's a nice image. Now the second clip is actually being lit up with the Kelden 8X underwater video light, and it's coming from the left hand side. As you can see, I've only used one light here to actually illuminate this scene, and you can see it quite clearly as you can see the shadows on the right hand side of the freshwater lobster. Now this last clip is shot using the WeFine snoot light to illuminate the freshwater lobster, and you can see, because it is a snoot light, it channels the light, it focuses that light a lot more, and it brings it onto whichever point or part of the animal you really want to focus on or illuminate. And you can be a lot more creative with a light like this. If you're interested in learning more about how you can creatively use snoot lights underwater for your filming needs, I've actually made a video a little while back that is covering that topic specifically. I'll link it up here in the corner, so feel free to go and check that out if that topic interests you. But all in all, even though the creativity is maybe not as versatile with the X-Adventure ring light for what it is and what it's supposed to do, I think it does a really good job of doing that when shooting underwater. Handling wise, there's nothing that I can say that I didn't like about using the X-Adventurer ring light. Now, everything is straightforward. It turns on very easily. You can turn it off very easily. You can dial in your output level very easily with that little rotation knob that is on the top side of the ring light. So yeah, it works really, really well. And even wearing thick dry suit gloves, you can work the buttons and the knob. You can turn it around, and it works really, really well. The only thing, if I have to give you a negative about it, but that's just nothing to do with that specific model of the ring light, that's with generally all ring lights, is because they are located right at the front of your macro lens or your port on your underwater camera rig. Every time you want to change the output level, you actually have to reach all the way to the front and do the adjustment there. And that's a little bit annoying sometimes, and it can also scare off the animal that you're trying to film or take a photo of. Now the ring light is probably not a light that you're gonna get as your primary and first underwater video light, simply because it is very specific at what it does. You can only use it for macro videography or photography for that matter, because it actually does have an optical connection, so you can connect an optical cable to it and use it as a strobe underwater as well for your photography needs, but it's only meant to be used in the macro field. But for someone who already has a regular underwater video light for their wide angle and standard shots that they're taking underwater, this can be a very interesting addition to your kit of gear to just be able to capture the macro part of the things a little more specific and a little better in terms of illuminating and lighting the entire scene evenly. And last but not least, let's get to the special remarks or the special things that I want to mention about this light. There's basically two things. First of all, with the X-Adventure ring light, one specific thing that no other ring light has is that it has a threading at the front as well. And this means that you can use your macro wet lenses and you can screw them onto the front of the ring light, which is quite unique. Because with other ring lights, if you want to add on a macro wet lens, you have to take off the ring light first, put on the macro wet lens and then reattach the ring light onto the macro wet lens. And this is quite complicated. Underwater, with the X Adventure version, you can actually stack them on top of each other without having to take off the ring light, and it makes it a lot easier using the ring light underwater. And the second thing that I want to cover here as a special remark, or a special thing that I've noticed using the X Adventure ring light, is the reflection that you can get from the light in the eyes of the animals that you film or take a photo of. Now look at this image here and pay close attention to the reflection of the light in the eye of the freshwater lobster. If you're taking a shot like this with a normal, regular underwater video light, you will get a reflection in the eye, but it's gonna be a solid dot, a solid circle basically. This one here actually really is a proper circle with a left out part in the middle, and it looks, in my opinion, really cool, very artistic, I find, and I think that this gives the use of this light a completely new perspective, and I'm really liking the look of that reflection in the eye of the freshwater lobster. And there you go, that's the end of our quick review of the X Adventure ring light in today's video. I hope this video was useful to you and I hope you got something out of it. And if that was the case, as always, please do not forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel so you're not missing out on any future content that will be uploaded here. Also, please let me know down in the comment section below whether or not you have used a ring light before and what you thought of it. All the links to the products that we've covered in today's video, as always, will be linked down in the video description, so feel free to go and have a look at all the products, specifically the ring light that we talked about in today's video. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Stay safe, happy diving, and I will see you in the next one.